During the 45th session of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Arab leaders demanded an immediate halt to the Israeli attacks on the Palestinian people. In Syria, President Bashar al-Assad announced that the terrorist offensive in Aleppo seeks to redraw the geopolitical map to serve Western interests in the region. And the Russian government warned that U.S. threats to impose tariffs for the exclusive use of the U.S. dollar will raise the Brics' will to trade with their domestic currencies. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos, and from the teleSUR studios in Caracas, Venezuela, we begin with the news. The Lebanese government denounces Israel for violating the November 27th ceasefire agreement. The president of the Lebanese parliament, Naib Berri, reported 52 Israeli violations in the last few days. Occupation forces killed one civilian and injured another in a drone strike, in addition to demolishing houses with bulldozers in the south of Lebanon. Since the ceasefire came into effect, the Israeli occupation targeted civilians, carried out bombings and air raids in an attempt to stop the Lebanese people from returning to their homes. And Arab leaders demanded on Monday an immediate halt to the Israeli attacks on the Palestinian people during the 45th session of the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, held in Kuwait. In an official statement, the GCC leaders underscored their strong support for the Palestinian cause and its sovereignty over all Palestinian territories occupied since June of 1967. They further urged for the establishing of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. In this regard, the Council's Secretary General, Jassim al-Budawi, stressed the need for the international community to take steps and work comprehensively to achieve an immediate and permanent ceasefire.
The Supreme Council called for an end to the killings and collective punishment in Gaza, the displacement of the population, and the destruction of civilian facilities and infrastructure, including health facilities, schools, and places of worship, in clear violation of international law and international humanitarian law. The Council urged for meddling in to safeguard civilians, stop the war, and sponsor serious negotiations to reach sustainable solutions.
Likewise, the leader of the Gulf Cooperation Council condemned the constant Israeli aggressions towards Lebanon.
The leaders of the GCC countries condemned the ongoing Israeli aggression toward Lebanon and warned against the aftermath of keeping up and broadening the conflict, which will lead to dire consequences for the regional peoples and international peace and security.
And now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. We continue with the Middle East. As Syrian President Bashar al-Assad denounced that the offensive launched by terrorist groups in the province of Aleppo seeks to redraw the geopolitical map to serve Western interests in the region. During a meeting with his Iranian counterpart, Masoud Pezeshkian, the Iranian president warned that the terrorist escalation goes beyond the country and seeks to divide the whole region. For his part, the Iranian head of state agreed that the attempts to damage the unity of Syria are a blow to the stability of the entire region, which he blamed on Israel and the United States. In this sense, Pezeshkian reaffirmed his support to the efforts of the Syrian government to counter potential threats. And in Iran, the foreign ministry accused Israel of supporting terrorist factions in Syria.
The Zionist regime has been actively supporting various terrorist groups. Their goal is clearly to weaken the resistance in Syria as one of the key elements in the resistance against occupation. It's always an old Israeli plot to disrupt security of the whole region and sow discord between various Islamic groups and countries. There are promising signs that regional countries have adopted a unified approach based on understanding the dangers caused by reactivation of terrorism. God willing, they will assist in stopping the current trend and cracking down on the terrorist groups as soon as possible.
In other news, the Russian government warned that U.S. threats to impose tariffs for the exclusive use of the U.S. dollar will raise the Brics' will to trade with their domestic currencies. The spokesperson of the Kremlin, Dmitry Peskov, announced the strengthening of trade policies of the Brics agenda following the statements of the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump about imposing trade tariffs on all products of the Brics countries. The authority further ensured that the U.S. dollar is no longer enticing as a reserve currency, neither for the Brics nor for the world. Moreover, Peskov foresaw that the decline in the use of the U.S. dollar will continue to take its course. Subsequently, the Brics have been debating on the introduction of a joint currency from August 2023 to reduce dependency on the U.S. dollar and the euro, in addition to defending their country's sovereignties. And the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, rejected Western countries' claims of an alleged ceasefire with Ukraine. Lavrov granted that the idea is unsustainable since the measure won't improve the situation in the region, nor will it lead to a lasting peace. In this regard, he also assured that President Putin is ready to hold a sincere talk with the Ukrainian authorities to reach an agreement that would benefit both sides. Furthermore, Lavrov stressed that the allies of the Kyiv regime are seeking a ceasefire so it can gather a new arsenal of weapons against Moscow.
Western countries allied with Ukraine have initially referred to a ceasefire as a way to give the Kyiv regime a way out. They would also have the chance with this ceasefire to rearm themselves with modern arsenals and long-range weapons. This, of course, is not the roadmap for peace.
And the Eastern Route pipeline connecting China to Russia initiated its operation on Monday, so experts informed that it will be able to transport up to 38 billion cubic meters of natural gas per year. The project has a single pipeline of over 5,000 kilometers. Consequently, it is considered the largest gas pipeline in the country as it extends from the Heihe town to Shanghai. Furthermore, the supply will meet the annual gas needs of over 450 million people in 9 provinces and regions. In addition to its importance for China, the Chinese-Russian gas pipeline showcases the growing energy collaboration with Russia and the strengthening of its exports to Asia after the Western sanctions due to the conflict in Ukraine.
The launch of the pipeline significantly improves the reliability and flexibility of gas supply in eastern China. The project's annual supply capacity has grown from the initial 5 billion cubic meters to 38 billion cubic meters today, ensuring sufficient gas supply for peak demand periods that will extend from this winter to next spring.
And the Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobayidze accused the West of financing domestic riots. At a government meeting, the Prime Minister highlighted that the violent rallies are being coordinated with foreign sponsorship in an attempt to destabilize processes in Georgia. The diplomat added that in the past 4 years, third countries have bolstered 3 riots to burst out a color revolution. In this regard, the authority warned that the financing revolutionary protests in Georgia is the wrong attitude towards his nation. And we have a second show break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you will be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final show break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Thai authorities rate the death toll from 9 to 22 as a result of floods affecting the south of the country. The storm has further razed over 664,000 homes, making the government find shelters to over 22,000 evacuees. In addition, disasters prevention authorities reported that floods continue hitting 7 provinces, so the alert is expected to be kept until Thursday. In the past 15 days, storms have caused severe flash flooding in Malaysia, namely in the northern states, leaving at least 3 deaths and over 131,000 evacuees. And on Monday, protesters gathered outside the United Nations top court calling for climate justice as the landmark climate change case has opened. The International Court of Justice took up the largest case in its history, hearing the plight of 7 small island nations helpless in combating the devastating impact of climate change that endangers their very survival. The nations demanded that major polluting countries be held accountable. Last year, the UN General Assembly asked the International Court of Justice for an opinion on the obligations of states in respect to climate change. Any decision by this court would be non-binding advice, and it couldn't be directly enforced on wealthy nations into action to help the struggling countries.
One of the questions, of the 2 questions that have been taken to court, includes historical responsibilities, and that includes reparations. There will be countries who will be putting forth their cases, especially in the Pacific, about historical responsibilities in terms of reparations and payments of countries that have actually caused the climate crisis in the developed world. And for us Pacific Islanders, we also need the finances that is required to adapt, mitigate, and also counter the losses and damages that we incur due to the climate crisis.
And in other news, in Guinea, dozens of people were killed in clashes between fans during a football match. Authorities informed that dissatisfaction with the referee's decisions favoring the home team prompted visitors to initiate violent actions and clashes with the police. As a result, the security teams fired tear gas in order to contain the angry mob and to disperse the crowd. In this context, hospital authorities have put the provisional death toll at 56, with several others also injured.
Sport has traditionally been an opportunity to promote national unity and social cohesion. However, demonstrations of dissatisfaction with refereeing decisions led to stone throwing by fans, resulting in fatal stampedes. Hospital authorities have put the provisional death toll at 56, with several others injured.
And we go now to South America as the Venezuelan International Tourism Fair closed, positioning the country as an attractive international destination and promoting its economic development. Let's listen to the governor of Táchira regarding this event.
Venezuela is a country at peace. It is a safe country. And it is a country that, despite unilateral sanctions, is growing and advancing in prosperity. Venezuela is not stopped by anyone, and this must also be said. This is a recognition to our president.
It is a recognition to the persistence and courage of a man who, despite immense difficulties, remains strong. He manages to face the sanctions and grows together with his people. So the FTS has achieved several objectives. There is a political objective, which is the recognition of the country. There is an economic objective, which is a country that grows in the midst of difficulties, and there is a human objective, which is the reunion with the people. We see here the representatives of the Brics. We have Russia here, we have China, and we also have South Africa. The four of them represent, almost, half of the population of the world.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and also on TikTok. For telesur English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.